Everygo namaskara. A very good morning to one and all. On behalf of Association of Food Scientists and Technologists India, I welcome everyone to this Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav seminar program. It is my proud privilege to invite the dignitaries to the dais. May I request today's chief guest of the function, Professor S. Ayyappan, Chancellor, Central Agricultural University, Imphal, the guest of honor, Dr. Ravi Shankar CN, Director and Vice Chancellor, ICAR, CIFE, Dr. Alok Kumar Srivastava, President, AFSTI, Dr. Bhaskar N, President Designate and Advisor, FSSAI, to kindly come to the dais, please. Thank you, sir. On this auspicious occasion, let us start the event by seeking the blessings from the Almighty. I request Ms. Divya Suresh, student from CFTRA, for invocation, please.
Ya kundendu tusharahara davala, ya shubra vastravrita, ya veenovaradanda mantitakara, ya shweta padmasana, ya brahmachuta shankara prabhudipe, devi sadha vandita, Saunam patu saraswati bhagavati Nishcheshya jadyapaha Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Brahma, Gurur Vishnu, Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Divya, for this melodious start. Actually, our director, Dr. Sridevi Singh, was supposed to join this function, but because of the health issues, she couldn't join. May I request Dr. Alok Kumar Srivastava, President, AFSTI, to formally welcome the gathering.
Welcome all the esteemed members of AFST. Respected Professor Ayyappan sir, respected Dr. Ravi Shankar ji, Dr. Bhaskar, all senior stalwarts of food, science and technology present here, and members of AFST as well as colleagues at CFTRI, and importantly, students present here. Welcome you once again for this conference, which is organized by Association of Food Scientists and Technologists India, AFSTI, to commemorate and celebrate the Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav. What a pleasant morning today, and also we are having this talk. We are blessed to have two stalwarts from the field to share their thoughts on this theme. And what a good occasion at this heritage town of Mysore, which is hosting two prestigious institutions, DFRL as well as CFTRI, along with other institutes like Mysore University as well as colleges which are working in fields of food science and technology. When we talk about the Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav, I'm sure that all of you know various revolutions which has taken place during this time, 1947 onwards till date, be it a green revolution, white revolution, or blue revolution. All this has transformed the dynamics of the agriculture and food in the country. We know, I think youngsters may not be knowing the facts when in early times, 1960s, 50s and all, we at India, our population was dependent on most of the imported foods, where schemes like PL 480 and like wheat, rice, everything was to be imported. So we used to see towards the port. But nowadays things has completely changed. All you know that India has become world largest supplier in almost all kind of agricultural commodity, including milk, eggs, fruits, cereals, anything we talk. And we cannot imagine that population of India to be dependent on the imported foods, because that cannot have happened. If it happens, the whole global trade would be in turmoil, because such a huge population cannot be dependent on the imported foods. So we must salute all the stakeholders, starting from the farmers, scientists, engineers, technologists, whoever contributed in this kind of transformation, where we have not only minimized the agricultural wastage, also added the value and added so many innovations in the process and technology. Being in CFTRI, we know that how valuable contributions has been there from this institute, be it a seniors know that be it synthetic rice or milk substitutes and so many other things, which has not only helped in the nutritional security, but also in adding the value to those produce. So we are, as I mentioned, we are blessed to have two stalwarts amongst us. First and foremost, we formally welcome Professor Ayappan sir here amongst us, and to share his vast knowledge, because you know that he has led several organizations and he has provided his guidance to many of the institutions to take their mandate on the progressive front. So may I request Dr. Nandini Shetty, Secretary AFSTI, to kindly welcome sir with flower of bouquet as a token of our love and respect to sir. Thank you. It's my honor to welcome Dr. Ravi Shankar sir amidst us. And as we know that when we talk about the blue revolutions, the institutions which he has worked and he has led has contributed significantly in that. So may I welcome you once again, sir, and may I request Dr. Nandini Shetty to formally welcome sir. We are happy to have Dr. Bhaskar, President Designate AFSTI, as well as Advisor FSSAI amidst us. We welcome you all. May I request Shetty to kindly welcome Dr. Bhaskar. Not a very good news. Our director, Dr. Sridevi Annapurna Singh, happens to be ill since 2 days, and she has sought the pardon of all the members that she won't be able to join, though she was very much interested to share her thoughts. So we welcome her in absentia and also thank her for all the support extended to have this conference in the campus. So with this, I formally welcome each one of you, and I'm sure that all of you in next 2 hours or so, you will have the benefits of the experts' thoughts from our two speakers. Thank you all.
Thank you, sir. On behalf of everyone, I also welcome Dr. Alok Kumar Srivastava. So I request Professor Ayyappan sir to welcome Alok sir with a flower bouquet, please. Now, may I request Dr. Bhaskar N, Advisor FSSAI and the President Designate AFSTI to brief about this event, please.
ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. ಸಭಾ ಮಂಚದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಪಸ್ಥಿತರು ಗಣ್ಯಾತಿಗಣ್ಯರಿಗೂ ಹಾಗೂ ಸಭೆಯ ಆ ಪಕ್ಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತಿರೋ ಗಣ್ಯರಿಗೂ ಮಿತ್ರರಿಗೂ ಮಾಧ್ಯಮ ಮಿತ್ರರಿಗೂ ಮತ್ತೊಮ್ಮೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತಿಸ್ತಾ, ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡೋದು ತುಂಬ ಇಷ್ಟ, ಆದರೆ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದು ಕಷ್ಟ ಆಗೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಐ ವಿಲ್ ಸ್ವಿಚ್ ಓವರ್ ಟು ಇಂಗ್ಲೀಷ್. I was asked to just brief about this event. I just thought, what do I say about this? The very purpose Government of India started this Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav series is to make ourselves take pride in what we have done and what we need to do even in future. So this cuts across different sectors, different categories, different sphere of working. It could be scientists, it could be public workers, it could be students, it could be institutions. So it just cuts across all the categories as well. So on that front, we at Association of Food Scientists and Technologists of India, we also thought we should do our bit to commemorate what the Government of India has started as a mass movement, where we can take pride of what we have achieved so far in 75 years and what we need to achieve in the years to come in the interest of our future generations. So to that effect, we thought it fit to have the theme as innovation to build resilient, sustainable food supply for nutritional security. This is in line with what AFSTI stands for. It is in line with what the two great institutions housed in this city stand for. Albeit, they both cater to different sectors, but nonetheless, their mandate, their objective remains the same, to make a nutritionally secure food supply chain. It could be for defense forces, it could be for the civilians out here across the country. Having said that, I must also confess that the choice of the speakers were very well thought of, and you would be surprised that the two people who are going to speak here today on the theme have actually achieved and contributed a lot for achieving nutritional security in their own domains. And here I must borrow from what Ayyappan sir was speaking yesterday night. He was just trying to distinguish between knowledge, information, and wisdom. I'm sorry, let me rephrase it. It is information, knowledge, and wisdom. So, when he was narrating that, I could see why extraordinary people who do extraordinary achievements still remain ordinary. But yet, they are always recognized by the extraordinary achievements they make. The incident goes like this. Sir, if I may borrow from what he said yesterday, he was traveling with a progressive farmer. So the progressive farmer asked sir as to distinguish between information, knowledge, and wisdom. So sir, he, as usual, being such a simple, humble soul, he said, could you please explain? Let me hear it from you itself. So the farmer says, tomato is edible, it's information. Because it is safe to eat, everybody eats, it's information. Tomato is a fruit, is a knowledge. But tomato being a fruit cannot be used in fruit salad is the wisdom. So although it looks very simple, the philosophy involved in this incident is so enormous, and this is where I must confess that Professor Dr. Ayyappan, Padma Shri Awardee, still remains rooted, simple, humble, yet have achieved so much extraordinary things in life. And this is where the importance of him being invited as the speaker for this event takes much more importance. And I sincerely welcome you again, sir. They say legends are born in December. Both the speakers have been born in December, so I think it's a big round of applause to both of them that they are born in December. And Dr. Ravi Shankar is also my senior. Not that Dr. Ayyappan is not my senior, he is my super senior. He also has achieved, he epitomizes the working where science can meet business, business can be helped by science, and technologies can be delivered to businesses based on their requirements rather than what we think is their requirement. So he epitomizes a system where he has built technologies or systems for the benefit of different stakeholders. It could be common fishermen, where he was instrumental in developing some of the fishing gears, and he has led teams doing that. And he has also developed, inspired the teams to develop technologies for the benefit of seafood processing industry. And Blue Revolution having been one of the major strategy in which India has achieved a lot, especially with our exports booming year by year. He epitomizes something that has really, we should as Indians take pride that our fishery sector has achieved a lot, and it is very apt that he is going to be the next speaker after Professor Ayyappan in this event. So having said that, their talk, I'm certainly sure that it will be giving you food for thought in terms of innovations that have happened to build a resilient food supply for nutritional security. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Bhaskaran sir, for briefing about the importance of this event. Now, may I request the dignitaries on the dais to formally inaugurate the event by lighting the lamp, please. Thank you, sir. And now we have the next program is the release of the theme and the logo of forthcoming 29th ICFoST. May I request Dr. Nandini Shetty, the Secretary of AFSTA, to take forward regarding this event.
Thank
Thank you, Dr. Usha. A very good morning to esteemed dignitaries on dais and off the dais and colleagues who are joining us live on YouTube and friends from media. AFSTI, as you all know, is continuously striving for the economic development of nation through amalgamation of food scientists and technologists. The major objective of AFSTI is to stimulate and advance the knowledge base of various aspects of food science and technology. Towards this objective, AFSTI organizes conferences to bring together the food scientists and technologists from R&D institution, industry, academia, students, and policymakers on a common platform to deliberate on various challenges faced by agri-food sector in India and develop strategy and plan to meet the challenges. ICFoST is the annual convention, and IFCON is hosted once in 5 years. Following this rich tradition, AFSTI this year will be organizing the 29th ICFoST in January 2023. The aim to organize this conference is to provide exposure to innovative technologies, increase national and international tie-ups, and to provide knowledge about recent happening in food science sector. It offers a unique opportunity for researchers in academia and private sector, young scientists across the nation, industrialists, and business delegates to meet, network, and publish the latest results and advances in the field. This exchange of knowledge will provide researchers and investors with most recent innovation, trends, and challenges in food processing area while presenting solutions to achieving food security and sustainable agricultural development. As has been our tradition to encourage our students to participate in the activities of ASTI, every year the logo of the ICFoST is selected by organizing a competition among our student members. This year too, the competition was held and we have an overwhelming response, and the CEC evaluated the received entries and the logo was selected. And the logo and the theme will be unveiled in a few moments. This year's theme of 29th ICFoST has been proposed keeping in mind the challenges that are faced in the area of achieving sustainable nutritional security. Eradication of hunger and providing nutritious food to population is one of the major sustainable development goals. To feed the growing population, we need to get the trade-off right between sustainability, food security, food safety, and make better use of food which is already produced. The solutions for nutritional security can be met using smart and safe technologies in agro and marine food processing research. India has a vast marine resources in form of coastline over 7,500 kilometers. The marine sector is a fast-growing sector in India which provides nutrition and food security to a large population of country besides providing income and employment. Furthermore, our government is keen in utilizing the agro and marine resources for food and nutrition security and has launched many schemes. So keeping all these themes in mind, we thought which place other than Kerala would be a better place to host 29th ICFoST. Hence, this year, 29th ICFoST will be held in Trivandrum, Kerala. And we were very happy when the Kollam chapter came forward to host this event in association with Kochi, Thrissur, and Trivandrum chapters. We look forward to have an overwhelming participation from fraternity in food science and technology at ICFoST, and to unveil our logo, the theme innovative, smart, and safe solution for agro and marine food processing to achieve sustainable nutrition security. With us today, we have two stalwarts who have worked a lot in this area. And soon you'll be listening to their talk, which is apt for our theme. Now I request Professor Ayyappan, Chief Guest, and Guest of Honor, Dr. Ravi Shankar sir, to unveil the theme and logo of the conference. The winner of the logo is Razia Mohammed, Research Associate, Zonal Technology Management, Agribusiness Incubation Center, ICAR, Central Institution of Fisheries Technology. I congratulate the winner who has joined us live on YouTube. Now I will read out the description of the logo. The logo for 29th ICFoST 2022 represents the theme 5S, which stands for the terms smart, safe solutions, sustainability, and security. The main part of the logo is shaped yes to reflect the theme, and also the letter yes is the word ICFoST is combined with the number 5 to highlight 5S. The agro and marine food processing sectors are represented with the help of fish and wheat icons. The blue color represents smart and safe solutions, and green color represents sustainable technology in this field. The merging of both the color in the logo represent the dynamic interconnection between them and their role in ensuring sustainability and food security. A torch is given to represent the power of scientific knowledge and innovation in laying a path towards the bright future of Indian agricultural sector. The flame represents the role played by AFSTI in enlightening and inspiring the scientific community, student and various stakeholders through insightful program like ICFoST. And this was sent by the student herself. So looking forward to see you all at 29th ICFoST in Trivandrum. Thank you one and all.
Thank you, Dr. Nandini. I hope our forthcoming ICFoST will become a very grand success. Now, the most awaiting part is we have one of the eminent personalities, today's chief guest, Professor Ayyappan. So we have a talk on agri-tech for food and nutrition. Before inviting Ayyappan sir, it is my proud privilege to introduce sir to the gathering.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
Sir, 2 minutes.
Thank you, madam.
Very
Thank you.
briefly.
Thank you, madam. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I request the other dignitaries to kindly occupy the chairs in front of the dais, please.
Take the video.
Hey, madam. Madam. Thank you. Thanks. Hey, madam. Thank you, madam. Okay. Okay, madam. So thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. Ellarigu namaskaralu. Saviko namaskar. Greetings. Good morning on this occasion. Very senior colleagues are here. Madam Vijaya Rao, Dr. Vijaya Rao, Dr. A.S. Bava, other colleagues I see here. Among others, we have Srimati Hari Prasad, very senior, colleague in Mysore, Dr. Anandaram Krishnan, and other colleagues, and on the dais, very esteemed president of the AFSTI, Dr. Alok Srivastava, president designate, and of course he is not seen often because he is often in Delhi. So anyway, he is president designate and advisor FSSAI, Dr. N. Bhaskar, Honorable Vice Chancellor and Director of the Central Institute of Fishery Education, Mumbai, and esteemed guest this morning, Dr. C. N. Ravishankar. I see many senior colleagues from our fraternity. We have Professor Shyam Sundar, Dr. M. Gopal, all former deans of the College of Fisheries, Mangalore, Dr. C.K. Murthy, Chief of the former Chief of the National Fisheries Development Board. So like this, so many, and then our office bearers of the AFSTI, Vice President Dr. Madam Honorary Secretary Dr. Nandini Shetty, and then Treasurer Dr. Basavaraju, several colleagues who have made this occasion. Dr. Azadi, thank you very much for welcoming us here. Colleagues from CFTRI, from DFRL, student friends, to all of you. Only we are missing the director of the CFTRI, Dr. Shri Annapurna Singh, due to her ill health. I will pray for her early recovery and joining us this morning. At the outset, very grateful to the Association of Food Scientists and Technologists India for asking us to be here on the Azadi Amrit Mahotsav occasion. Initially, I was very hesitant and nervous, but then Dr. Bhaskar, our dynamic colleague, again Dr. Bhaskar is always outstanding. Dr. Bhaskar, he assured me that I will not be alone. Dr. Ravishankar, Vice Chancellor from CFE Mumbai, will be with me. So I said on that condition I agreed. And thank you very much, Dr. Ravishankar, for making it here this morning. To all of you, Once again, greetings. And at the outset, I would like to salute late Dr. V. Subramanian, the founder director of the Sankey Food Technological Research Institute, also the founder of the AFSTI, that kind of visionary that he was amazing. And I think on a day like this, it's our privilege to offer our salutations to him. And going further, the AFSTI, a very strong society. I believe now you are exactly 65 years young. And then 65 years and maybe the 70 years, in the next 10 years, you also will be celebrating the Mahotsav. We look forward for that day. A very commendable organization with 4,000 members, 38 chapters and so on, elegant job in publications. So such a society, and many times we think in our Dr. Amrit Srivastavji said, talked about pre-independence and initial independence years. We many times wonder if CFTI was not here, we would not have been what we are as a country. That's the least tribute that we can pay to this great organization. So on this occasion, once again, thank you very much for asking me to be here, Dr. Srivastav and Dr. Bhaskar. I'm basically a fisherman and then turned farmer. So that's my introduction. And that's why I said don't introduce, because it's all simply. But then on this occasion, a few slides, a few talk. I've been doing 40 minutes, and then I'm sure that I will take more time. This light thing, so turn over. So you are all food and technological, food technology, food science, food engineering, and I see a lot of PhD students and MSc students, and from the course that CFTR is offering for many years now. So you are very familiar with food science and technology and engineering. So I said, talking about the same subject would be like bringing the coal to the castle. So I thought I'll talk about something one step before, the supply chain. That's where I come from. And then so maybe, nothing, it's just to kind of initiate some interest, stimulate some thoughts, and then gradually appreciate what the farmer today is. That's the intention of this talk. And the Agri-Tech for Food and Nutrition, I thought Madam Dr. Singh would have complemented this with her talk on food and she was about to speak on nutrition per se. So this is what we always talk of. Speaking at AFSTA in Mysore, we cannot forget the great poet of this land, Kuvempu Dr. K. Puttappa, who has given us the Nadagite and Raitagite. In Raitagite, if you see, in Kannada, he says, whatever ನೇಗಿಲ ಹಿಡಿದು ಹಾಡುತ್ತ ಹೊಲದಲ್ಲಿ ಉಳುತ್ತಿಹ ರೋಗಿಲಿ ನೋಡಿ ಉಳುತ್ತಿಹ ಯೋಗಿ ನೋಡಲಿ ಅಂತ. It's the translation something like this, having this plow and then singing, he's celebrating farming, and then he is all the time into what is farming. One day he stops his work and we are gone. And that's the kind of tribute Kuvempu has paid to him. So I think we should remember him with this slide. And these occasions, all of us know, today's newspaper you must have read, the Sustainable Development Goals throughout the country, 17 goals, cannot be achieved by 2030 for the simple reason, one, climate change, second, COVID, and then third is global crisis, unprecedented, all those wars-like situation that's happening around the world and even in our neighborhood. So these are a few things in a kind of pandemic that we have had, and for the first time, we are seeing a return migration. Earlier, it's all used to be from the rural to urban, and then now it's urban to rural, that kind of a thing that's coming up. And then the two sectors that worked really well during the last 3 years have been food and health. And fortunately, of course, CFTRI has been all the time. Okay. CFTRI has been all the time forging that kind of relation between food and health, but the societal ambience did not. But COVID somehow brought that together, and then as I said, the wars and the disasters, increasing disasters, these have impacted. And the 10 years to SDG, that's what we think, but it's only now 7 years, and that's difficult also. So Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav, 75 years of independence, and then as what Srivastava said, we are no more in those PL 480 days, and 50 million tons of food grains. Today we have 310 million tons of food grains. That's only food grains. I'll talk about the food in a little later, and that's what we are in 75 years, and exactly maybe another 4 weeks, we are having that celebration of the independence. And also the new platform that have come are the National Education Policy and the Science, Technology, Innovation Policy. Finally, we're all aware of this Atmanirbhar, the call for becoming self-reliant. And this is what MDGs to SDGs paradigm shift, talking about SDGs, 17 of them, and at least 7 of them into agriculture and food. And I think each of our activities to be tuned to these goals. That's what we are looking at. I won't go with much statistics, but just to be very brief in such an occasion, on such an occasion, the global food system, something like $3.5 trillion, and the land about 5 billion hectares all over the world. But then please notice there is a gradual decline in agricultural land, not only in India, throughout the world. So we can make arms and automobiles and warships and aeroplanes, but if food production decreases. Last month you must have seen a message from the Union Commerce Minister asking for people to go for more paddy. The paddy production has become a concern. Or when the wheat export was for a while stopped, you could have seen the kind of the reactions from all over the world. So that's the situation we are in. And again, please see the workforce. We produce over 10 billion tons of food all over the world, but the workforce again is a decline. 10% decline is not a small thing. That means people going out of agriculture is again a concern. And maybe pesticide, fertilizers, and so on and so forth. And the oil which is so dear to us, edible oil, there again you are seeing the kind of concerns that we have today. Milk, 900 million tons, and then India proudly says we are the largest producer. Similarly, meat increases there. Fish globally about 180 million tons, and we will come to the Indian figures a little later. Similarly, eggs, forestry, and so on. Now, these are the kinds of things, but then what is important is the global trade, about $1.5 trillion, that's very important to look at. At the same time, we are being increasingly questioned, not applauding us for food production per se, but then the carbon footprints that we are leaving, the greenhouse gas emissions, maybe from the paddy fields, from the wastelands, from the wetlands, from the livestock, and so on. This is what we are worried about. At the same time, we are at least 1 billion people hungry and into malnutrition. That's why we are now talking of the global climate risk index. India is the 7th most affected when it comes to climate change. We are seeing in and around all the time. Now, this is what is a matter of concern. As I said, nearly 1 billion people are into some form of hunger and malnutrition, and then we are talking of a healthy diet of $2 per day and per capita, not able to achieve even that. But when it comes to global south, that's global south is mainly India, Indian subcontinent, 57% cannot be called fully nutrition safe. That's the worrisome feature. And global hunger index, of course, I don't want to talk of too many negatives, but these are the facts, about 101 in 116 countries. This is very important, food, water, energy nexus. And this is what we are wondering, in a country like India, what is the water use? What is the energy that we use in farming? Often we don't think of the energy input. We all have assumed that we have energy for free. And then that's where we are also want to bring in another dimension, in how much food to be processed. Maybe the ICFoST may need to consider this, because a country like India largely prefers fresh food. whether it's vegetable or fish or whatever. Now, how much processing that we should be doing? So the energy, again the carbon footprint that we will be creating in processing. So how much, because all the time we have said we are processing too little. At the same time, a typical consumer in India prefers everything fresh. So what kind of a supply chain should be built up? Maybe a good paper could be coming out, how much of water, energy footprints will be there in food production and food processing. That's what is the request here. I often bring up this slide because in 1928, when Mahatma Gandhi with Madan Mohan Malviya took 2 weeks dairy processing training in Bangalore. Can you imagine 1947 and 20 years earlier, Mahatma thought, in spite with all the freedom struggle, we are now talking of Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav, amidst all the freedom struggle, he thought it fit to spend 2 weeks in Bangalore undergoing dairy training. That's the kind of importance the father of the nation gave. These are some pictures, heritage pictures, including the Mysore Maharaja and so on. Now this again is that picture. Now since then, 75 years on, the agriculture, farming, receiving that kind of a priority, interest, and investments are much desired, but then interest from the people who matter. That's what is important. Now, very quickly, India, again, this country, in 75 years, we should remember this, just 4% water, 2%, 2.5% land, but in sustaining 17%, 17.5, we are going to be the most populous nation over China. It's been reported in the next coming 2 to 3 years. In that case, 17% of global population, 15% of livestock, and our area, all the area put together, it's about 140 million hectares. But also marginally going out, and then 44%, 50% nearly for people dependent on farmers, on farming. And that's why we are talking of Annadata. Every time we say Annadata, but Annadatas have told us you only tell Annadata but don't do anything further. So to him or her, we would like to pay that respect and tribute. In 75 years of independent India, if we are confident, unlike many other nations today, global turmoil, if you are confident, if you are happy, and if you are able to sit like this in an auditorium and have a few discourses, absolutely it's the farming who has given us that kind of a ambience and environment. So these are a few things that we would like to talk about. Again, the farm exports more than 12% of our exports. Since we are talking in Karnataka, it's about 5% of the country's food basket. And then what we are talking of and further worried about, because for you, food technologies, food processors, it is really important how you would source the material. Large middle farmers are going out. Today already 87% of farmers are small. Small means what? Just 2 hectares of land. And our projection is by 2030, not very far, it's going to be 90%, and by 2050 it may be 95%, because land is continuously being divided. And in Brazil, a small farmer is a 250-acre holder. That is a small farmer. In India, it is 5 acres. So no comparisons, because often we are compared to US, China, Brazil, and so on. But of course, China we are comparing because of similar small farm holdings. But then we have to be clear what we are comparing with. Now coming to Indian figures, it's very important because the press always talks of food grains. 308, now it is 310 million tons of food, or 309 or so. But horticulture, fruits and vegetables, is 340. Milk, as I said, about 208. Meat, fish, 14. But Ravi Shankar, the Vice Chancellor from CFE Mumbai, would be speaking about it more, maybe 14 plus. And then so today we have something like 35, about 40 lakh crore rupees. That is the worth of agri produce in this primary value. That's very important, and that's something more than 10% of the global and nearly 25% of the Asian food production that we are having. We are all fortunate. I'm sure students should feel themselves fortunate. You could have gone to IT, you could have gone to anything, but in food production sector is something it's so much sacred. I would say it's sacred, that we are able to contribute a little of us to this great, whatever goal, you call it domain, whatever. So then I just mentioned about it. So today our problem is the climate change, already mentioned, the stresses, the resource decline, so these kind of things. The World Economic Forum, at least for the last 7 years, this time they met in May, only 2 months back, they do deliberate on agriculture. Earlier they were not including agriculture in their discussions. So that brings the importance, including some of the new technologies. Now this is where we have to be addressing large scale. Today we talk of a mall, whatever kinds of malls, the Lulu Mall in Kerala is the latest in news, or IKEA, I mean like this it goes on. But then kindly appreciate that food retailing, food aggregation, food is still the primary domain that we are talking of. Not going into details, I already mentioned about this, but the targets also have been worked out. What is it in 2030, what is the scenario? In 2050, what is the scenario? How much more food we should be producing? But along with food, you as food scientists, food technologists, you are well aware what is the loss, post-harvest losses, what should we be doing about it? These are the concerns. Fortunately, this country has more than 10% biodiversity, whether it's northeast or the western Ghats or whatever we talk of. Otherwise also, both terrestrial and aquatic, that's what is our strength. At the same time, see the per capita line. An Indian does not have more than 1,000 square meters, not more than 0.1 hectare. So it's going to be precarious. The per capita line availability in India is just about 0.1 hectare compared to 0.2 hectare globally. So that means we are at 50%. So then these kinds of issues that are coming up, then the future is it going to be just the food grains, and it's something more, the fruits, vegetables, all that I mentioned, it's for many more things than just food. The agriculture has to cater to. Then this way we are talking of a shift from starch to protein, particularly in the COVID era brought before us the importance of protein, the immunity today, society. Everybody talks of immunity, and that's the catchword today. I mean, it's become fortunate, it's a very unfortunate incident that happened, but then the social awareness, societal awareness with regard to science and technology and innovations have greatly increased. That's one thing that's happened in this country. So these are a few things that we want to talk of agriculture to employment. Today the biggest challenge in the country is youth employment, gainful employment, skillful employment, and that's why we talk of food as a major possibility. Now farmers also talk of farmers want to be recognized as something different. This way we gave them the name agripreneurs because they would like to be compared. They say that you wear a tie and I can't wear a tie, so when I go to a meeting, the people don't respect me. This is the feedback from the farmers. So that's why we say, you salute him, you respect him, and then this society has to depend on farming for all the time. Doubling farmers' income all the time discussed, so what we think is integration, diversification, clustering as much as possible. These are a few things. But as food technology, you also know the major challenges that are coming up, including antimicrobial resistance, the microplastics, very scary situations, scary things, the pesticide residues we were talking of earlier also. But the new thing about the new challenges are really concerning us. That's where we need to have greater and greater inputs in researches. So that's why everybody talks of smart farming. The people, smart farmers do tell us there's a smartphone, smart city, smart tie, and so on, but then not a smart farming. So we're not talking of water smart, energy smart, anything to do with smart farming. For example, I think our colleagues, very renowned rice technologies are here. But for us to grow rice, to grow paddy, at least 1,600 liters of water per kg of paddy, not rice, even paddy. So that kind of a demand. So that's where we are looking at water footprints, and then other possibilities of water management, and then innovations in terms of low-cost technologies, how to conserve water. And then we are now seeing the campaigns going around the country of healthy soil, good soil, good plant, good animal, and then good man. Good man is another thing we discussed. Good man is not just physical, it's many other dimensions, but then the soil, plant, animal, man relationship is what is being discussed, soil as the root. Then smartness, talking of many nanofertilizers from combinations, formulations from several laboratories coming in, a very enthusiastic process. Again, the genetic diversity, 93,000 types of rice available in this country. Only yesterday I was speaking to our colleague in Palakkad, Mr. Unni, who produces black rice, Navara rice, and you must have heard about it. He sells about 520 rupees a kilogram, having some therapeutic value and so on. So now, this kind of biodiversity, and then in safety area also several things that are happening in terms of biotech. Now, how can we be, of course, then again, biotech is not all GM. And that's why I said, a country like this, very difficult to take science and innovations directly into societal acceptance. And that's what requires awareness and so on. And seed again is a huge thing. Again, our youngsters for agripreneurship, an ideal entry point. And then pulses is one thing that we are deficient of. In the recent past, we have been able to come to almost the required amount, about 25 million tons. Otherwise, we are short of 10 to 12 million tons all the time importing. Here we are little okay, but the oil seeds, except the groundnut and the mustard, and to some extent, other things, castor, all that, the sunflower, safflower and other coming in, coconut oil definitely. The palm oil will be imported in such huge quantities, 50%. Now the oil palm mission that's coming up in the country, we have to see how all this goes. This is one area that we have to be concerned about. As technologies, the per capita consumption of oil, edible oil in this country is something like 19 kilograms, way above the requirement. So and then if you add butter, fats and all, it will be 24 kilograms. So can we both awareness and production have to go hand in hand. ICFoST also has been a partner in some of these millet campaigns and looking at these crops for health. And then again the forgotten crops, the orphan crops, they are coming back as future crops. And then horticulture I just mentioned in 7 different areas, the kind of contributions it has made. At the same time, I'm sure that this has provided a great opportunity for food processors. Food scientists, technologies, given the perishable nature and umpteen possibilities of high-value agriculture, including just now I talked to a student, she was talking about microbial pigments, and several other things that are coming in. So huge possibilities in this area. The continuous efforts to bring in new material, lot of improved germplasm and so on. So similarly, plantation tuber crops. Karnataka, for example, this ODOP is picking up, one district, one product. So that's where a very customized approach to processing. But it's not happening. I have also been going to several food parks. No, we don't see, in many places I have seen only gherkin brine, and nothing else happens. So a lot of challenges, at the same time, opportunities for our youngsters to look at these possibilities. So ODOP is a possible opportunity. Then high-value crops, again, a lot of engineers getting into this. In Himachal, for example, MBA engineering graduates taking the broccoli farming, 5 lakh rupees per acre. That's the kind of money that they're fetching. When I asked them whether they go back to their work, they said, no way, why would we leave such a thing? So that kind of possibility that horticulture is offering. Now the Nutri farms, again the designer farms, you give your prescription like a doctor and the farmer will provide you that kind of material. This is another concept coming up around Bangalore, around Hyderabad, around Pune and so on. Terrace farming, urban agriculture, hydroponics, vertical farming, different variations. Again, adding to this, why I'm mentioning this in a meeting like this is, some are very small quantities. They are made basically for domestic consumption. But somehow when they are clustered, it becomes quite a volume, and the perishable, given the perishable nature, lot of waste. So can we get into some kind of customized processing or some kind of customized cold chain at least for them? That's the request. And in protected cultivation, taking up in different farms, controlled atmosphere, maybe many variations that are there. And this again, the moment they produce high value, they expect high returns. And that's where can we intervene as processing, as food technologies. Now, this again, this plus the organic farming, high possibilities, and they're also getting that kind of money, returns. And today we're about 5 million hectares of organic farming in the country. So this about 3 million tons cultivated, but the concern is also with regard to collected. We also have a lot of still wild harvest, and that might hamper our biodiversity. We need to look at this aspect also when it comes to organic farming. Then again, a lot of efforts from fortifications days to biofortification today, and several interventions that are happening in crop varieties, and some of these possibilities here. Now, we are also looking at several, of course, I'm sure an institute like this very well aware. ICFoST is also commissioning many challenging projects. For example, the logo that we saw, absolutely beautiful logo designed by our colleague in CFT Cochin. So the kind of innovation that are happening, so people are looking at this combination of the public system research and the private sector innovations. Now, can we have some complementarity between them, bring in more stakeholders? That is the interest at this stage. And then the Health Food Connect, we already have established in this institution, but then much more to happen when it comes to, because now the food sector has their own demands when it comes to raw material. That's what we have to be acting at. Our concerns are also at several challenges. We have this pests and wildlife, and people from this part of the country who should be knowing how much it's hampering the cultivation. People are giving up cultivation maybe because of monkey menace, wild boars, the bluebills in the north, and so on. Elephant, you talk to the farmer, in terms of challenges he or she has, and that's why we are looking for solutions. I keep asking every scientist in the country because some solution for this, because it's falling between the crops, the plant, and the animals. Then when it comes to livestock, in our livestock, thanks to many efforts, conservation efforts, it's a happy thing that marginally there is an increase. The latest livestock census, there is a marginal increase. About 20 crores of cows, cattle, 10 crores of buffalo, and other population, ruminants, goats, and so on. So there is a small increase in livestock population, at the same time bringing up challenges for the feed and fodder. And this is what we look at. This again, you are all familiar with the per capita milk availability, one of the largest milk consuming country that we are, more than 250 grams that we are able to afford. And that's why we are looking at the improvement of indigenous breeds. How can we be, of course, I will not get into the discussion. There are a lot of discussion going on in those aspects. And so this is what is with regard to improvement of indigenous breeds, the new technologies, whatever you talk of in human reproduction, similar animal reproduction techniques are available today, almost. So that's where we can harness more of this capacity and the potential to have that kind of integrated farming, to enhance the farmer's income. Just the crops would not do, and there is one such example. That's why we are looking at some of these, but at the same time, the recent concerns of zoonotic diseases, increasing zoonotic diseases. And even last week I was in Northeast, pig fever, the swine flu again coming up. So people are worried about keeping livestock. For example, pigs were not totally, they were culled out. These kind of issues coming up all the time in this country. Then cultured meat, people have been proposing this. When it comes to fish, Dr. Ravi Shankar would be speaking more about it, but the point at this time is about 14+ million tons of fish. And then we also contribute considerably to the national export. This time it was something like 58,000 crore rupees. And then this one sector that has a huge potential, given the island systems, 8,000 kilometers of coastline and so on. So more and more possibilities from aquatic systems, not just fish, maybe high value compounds and so on. So we are at about 8% of the global fish production. As I said, this is the latest about export figure. Now this is what we are at today, but then aiming at higher and higher as we go along. But the possibilities are also with regard to diversification. Could be agri-tourism. At least half a dozen good examples in this country, not only fish, but agri-tourism in Maharashtra, in Northeast and so on. So people have been showing interest, evincing interest in this aspect also. Now, we have issues with regard to mechanization, automation. There are several local innovations coming up by our youngsters, farmers, maybe illiterate to the extent they do not have degrees, but then because they are in the farm 24/7, they keep on innovating, and we need to provide a platform, those people, to those possibilities we need to look at. Now this Atmanirbhar, Make in India, those platforms are kind of bringing out some of these products, machinery, as well as products from the high value compounds from, for example, cotton. In rice, you are the experts, the CFTRA, something like 20 plus compounds possible from rice towards higher income levels. Now, this again, very familiar picture before you. 9.8 billion tons, more than 1.3 billion tons globally wasted food. And then here we worked out a few figures in the post-harvest losses, at least 1 lakh crore rupees every year. So people keep asking us whether we can afford it in functions, marriages, hospitals, hostels, orphanages, old age homes, the kind of food that we waste, amount of food that we waste. And can we say the least that we can do is not waste food. And then, so looking at that possibility, to make farming more remunerative, the different kinds of specializations, the interventions towards secondary agriculture, whether it's the grains, millets, the root crops, for example, potato, the plantation crops, or the low value material to be converted to higher, in this case, for example, omega-3 from linseed. The fermentation, the whole sector, then including value addition flours, the kind of money that was brought to the farmers, and then fiber. Fiber is one thing that we didn't address seriously earlier, but now any kind of fiber. It may not be just cotton and jute, but the pineapple fiber, banana fiber, bamboo fiber. So people are looking at any kind of fibers for some kind of a blending along with the other main fibers. So this is what is an interesting thing. Blending in textiles is happening. Could be mushrooms, high value mushrooms, could be edible insects in the northeast, another food resource coming up, edible seaweeds that we are all aware of, plus several nutraceuticals from aquatic organisms. This is a challenge for us, for agricultural researchers, because we are largely biologists working in this domain. So we didn't have much new things coming from the engineering side. Fortunately today, a lot of interactions from engineers, interest in agriculture, and I see every month at least 3 or 4 engineers coming and asking in Bangalore for getting into agriculture. They had their grandparents were agriculturists or parents were agriculturists, and they have these engineering degrees. That's one thing interesting coming up. So some of these new things I won't read out. So these are things that are possible, that are needed now, and people are investing in terms of startups. It could be water management, big data, digital farming, and solar farming that we are talking of today, and then also the robots, and many of you come from Kerala and South India and so on, plucking coconuts, 600 to 800 rupees per day, 4 hours job. Many people are giving up per day in coconut and areca and so on. So the robots, this robot was designed by a farmer in Coimbatore. Demonstrated. The robot works well. Only thing is the handling the coconut, that weight, that arm is still required. So these are the kinds of innovation that are happening, and we require a lot of engineering inputs, the youth to get interested in some of these things. In spraying or the imaging technologies that we keep talking about. This, for example, our colleagues from Indian Institute of Science, normally they are into something else, but then we requested, and some of them have got into agricultural techniques that can improve agriculture. This, for example, mango tree. So the colleague there, a senior colleague, he kind of brought out this. Now deep learning, he had some of these techniques brought in. Now how many mangoes in that are really ripe that can be harvested? These are his demonstrations, again making the mango harvesting smart. Instead of simply going around every tree and so on, so on their screen, they can see where to go. So fortunately, these are the interests and interventions that our colleagues in different sectors are doing in agriculture. This, for example, he has demonstrated the afforestation. the potential land, the potential tree species, and where to be going, and what kind of a drone spraying. So these are kinds of things that they are demonstrating from the Indian Institute of Science. This is a familiar picture. Our farmers absolutely not suited or whatever, but if there is good knowledge, if it is improving their profitability, they would run and take these techniques. People have been asking us, the industry asks us, can our farmers afford? Why not? Today about 100 crore smartphones in the farm area, in the rural area, if you see, the smartphone coverage is almost 60%. And they use them very effectively for weather forecasting, the crop forecasting, and the market forecasting. So any new technique, they are thirsty today for new technologies. That much we should get assured. Then that's where all this boils down to smart farming for smart farmers. The agri-business system that you are teaching here in CFTRA, we are greatly excited. We would like to have more and more of those inputs for us. Several areas that our colleagues can be getting into. And then the new policy is also enabling, and the IP policy already that is there. So only thing is enabling farmers to have the advantage, access to some of this is what we need to be doing. And Dr. Bhaskar already told what his knowledge and innovation and all that. That's where the farmer explained to me, and make it very simple in terms of tomato. So now the agri startups is one of the fastest growing system. Fortunately, about 7,000 startups from Niti Aayog, from NABARD, from SFAC, and so on and so forth. Now, we have seen about 10% are agri startups. They are into aggregation, they are into forecasting, they are into all kinds of that kind of thing. So here, about today 600 to 700. Now, fortunately, about 10,000 crores investment has come in downstream, 4,500 crores. Now, this again, at least today we have seen how many farmers are really getting benefited. It's about 1.5 crores farmers. Apart from the FPOs, we have another unit called Farmer Producer Organization. But startups, means started making a difference. And that's where we require a lot of inputs, investments, and interest from the youngsters. Several areas that you can be getting into in agri-tech. I won't read all this, I just mentioned, and that's where we are looking at a new generation of agri. Only 700 today, and most of them are also are in Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Andhra Pradesh, and some in Delhi area. But great possibility, potential for agri startups, and I'm sure many of your colleagues who are here would slowly started getting into it. I won't go into these details. We analyze how startups are working, which area, and so on. As I said, maybe in consultancy, agri inputs, and farm nurseries, marketing, and so on. And then also how they get financed. These are another analysis done by NABARD, and then marketing and so on. Then what I would like to just mention is today people are getting interested, and particularly in the agri area. That's one interesting thing. Fortunately, the state of Karnataka has just to develop a startup policy for agri startup policy. So we did that, and it's been given there. So this is what we have projected. Up to 2030, as we go along, could there be something like every something like 5,000 startups to coming up in the state? And so a few things, a few requirements have also been listed in the policy. This is what I talked about: ODOP, one district, one product. And then innovations, we call it as farmer innovations, whether it's in Assam or Tumkur or in Ballari, they were absolutely new to agriculture. Engineering graduates doing a great job in Ballari. One should go and see. Each mushroom house is the size of this auditorium, and their market is directly Hyderabad. And these kinds of things happening increasingly, or we have goat farms and the pig farming, RAS systems coming in. So, and in each case, what I'm saying is the engineers who have some family background in agriculture are taking to this. So finally, our projections are the small farmer population will be around 90% plus as we go along, and he or she, that small farmer, have to cater to 75% of the food production. It will not be coming up from large farms. So when these big companies come in, it could be Reliance and others, they also have to change, modify their sourcing process. It's not going to be easy. Of course, cluster farming, contract farming, all that is being discussed. But then we also saw, how things have been happening in the last 2 to 3 years. So we have to see the changes happening, the external environment, the other countries trading, and then we have to design our production process. Today we also talk about the MEP. More than a target is about 1,000 universities, 45,000 colleges, and the enrollment to be increased to something like it's designed that it gets doubled in all the areas. So that's where the projections are: multidisciplinary universities, liberal education, all that kind of thing. But we also now need to look at the capacities to handle different areas, the kind of training, the kind of HR that we should be doing in different institutions. These are the kind of things that we have to be discussing. Finally, today it's about 71 agriculture universities, about that kind of thing we are seeing. And agriculture, many people, we had lost agricultural graduates or biology graduates in general to IT for about 20 years. But last about 10 years we are following, the cutoff marks are going up. This is where we are talking to the society, to the parents, and that's where they matter, saying that agriculture has, in fact I have been asked many times, does agriculture has so much science, that we talk about agricultural science. I have to be making presentations at the highest levels in Delhi at many places. We have said, yes, it cannot be STEM. It cannot be just science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It has to be in a country like this, it has to be STEAM, science, technology, engineering, agriculture, and mathematics. So this point has been picked up well, and this time, recently there are serious efforts going on to introduce agriculture even in schools and the colleges, general colleges, not the agriculture college, a dose of agriculture, and finally leading them to entrepreneurs. The last point, I have made this earlier also, many places, the research intensity across the streams, across the aerospace to agriculture to health and whatever. We are not more than 255 researchers per million. 255 researchers per million. So multiplied by 1,370 million. Whatever you do, private, corporate, public system, colleges, universities, we are not more than 5 lakh people, 5 lakh researchers in the country for a population of 137 crores. I mean, that's the challenge, whereas the global average is something like 1,500 per million. Now, why I'm making this point is, so each researcher is very precious. Each teacher is very precious. We can't afford to waste time in duplicating, doing duplicatory research, repetitive research, unnecessary research. Whatever we do, every hour, every rupee has to be put into something original, something innovative, something path-breaking. Otherwise, too much of routine research, too much of it just does more harm than good. So kindly say this research intensity is of course, it's gradually improving, but then we cannot, suddenly double, triple, and so on. So that's where, every institution has to take upon themselves this responsibility of doing good, quality research for the good of the society. And finally, this is what I keep telling: food agriculture is not a job of a few institutions, a few scientists, a few farmers. It is everybody's business. Air, water, like that, and food. Food is everybody's business. I cannot say I'm not in a food institute. So in the society, that realization fortunately is coming up, and with these words, on this occasion of Azadi ka Amrit Mahotsav, what we sincerely pray is that science, fortunately has been appreciated during the COVID era. Science with sense, good sense and skills would make us a happy and healthy India. Once again, I thank the ICFoST immensely for this opportunity, and thanks for the kind patience. Thank you very much.
May I request the dignitaries to come back to the dais, please. Thank you so much, sir. I think we should thank Professor Ayyappan, sir, for sharing his vast experience on agriculture, agri-produce, covering all the aspects, the future need, from carbon footprints to the recent technological interventions in agriculture. Sir, the slides were, it was a great journey to see the different aspects of agri-produce. Thank you so much for your precious time. Even though sir has refused me by, don't read my biodata, but I will take only 4 lines. I have to say only 4 lines, because that is to the, there are many youngsters also. We all know Professor Ayyappan sir, his caliber and then the great contributions to the society, but only 2-3 lines I want to say at this minute. As you know, Professor Ayyappan sir was the former secretary, Department of Agricultural Research and Education, and he was the DG of ICAR under the Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India. Sir has made significant contributions to administration and research management of National Agricultural Research System since 1996. He's the Yes, sir, but I want to say one more line, sir, one more line, please. Yes, sir, as the Director General of ICAR, sir has launched several new initiatives, such as National Initiative on Climate Resilient Agriculture, consortia research platforms, programs such as Farmers First, Student Ready, attracting and retaining youth in agriculture, that is called as ARIA, and so many. Sir has traveled almost, I think, more than 40 countries, and he was conferred with more than 30 national awards. He is a recipient of Karnataka Rajyosava Award in 2013 and the most prestigious Padma Shri Award in 2022. So, we are blessed to have you today with us, sir. Actually, we thank you from AFSTA and also from Team CFTRI for your valuable time here. And we know that you have your busy schedule. So after, I think, tea, sir has some pre-scheduled work at Mysore. So after tea, I think he will be leaving this hall. On behalf of AFSTI, I request our Alok sir and other dignitaries to kindly honor Professor Ayyappan sir. Thank you so much, sir. Sir, we will be honored by honoring you, sir, please. Sir, Ayyappan sir, we need one photo. Please, please. ಆಯ್ತು ಸರ್. Thank you, sir. You are. Thank you so much. Now we will break for 10 minutes for tea. Then after the tea, we have one more talk by our guest of honor, that is on Blue Revolution. So after 10 minutes, we will join here again. Thank you. I request all of you to kindly come inside the hall, please. We have a talk on Blue Revolution for Food Security. So I invite Dr. Ravi Shankar CN, Director and Vice Chancellor of ICAR, Central Institute of Fisheries Education, under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, Government of India. Sir is also not allowing me to introduce him to the gathering. So I welcome you, sir, and
No, since she is not being allowed, I think I am allowed to speak. No, Dr. Ravi Shankar currently. No, Dr. Ravi Shankar being my senior, that is not the important thing, but he is also currently the Vice Chancellor and Director of Central Institute of Fisheries Education. Like I said in the beginning, he is one man who has done so much to different stakeholders, so many technologies transferred, so many technologies developed based on the stakeholder request. And like I said, two legends are born in December. He is one, the other one was Dr. Ayyappan. And I think he would enthrall you with, your talk, with his talk. Thank you.
ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ. Good morning to everyone. I know how it is difficult to talk after Dr. Ayyappan. Okay. Definitely when Dr. Bhaskar called me that he is also coming, I said please avoid me. Especially talking after Dr. Ayyappan, definitely it is not going to be easy for me. And also I have a lot of my seniors sitting here that are also making me nervous. First of all, greetings to everyone from Central Institute of Fisheries Education. We are part of Indian Council of Agriculture Research. And first of all, I would like to thank the President, Dr. Alok, and the incoming President, Dr. Bhaskar, Dr. Nandini, and all the office bearers of AFSTI for inviting me to be part of this. And it's always a privilege to be, coming to CFTRI and getting associated with the AFSTI activities. I think I have not missed any of your conferences, whether it is IFCON or ICFoST or anything, wherever it was held. Last, I think I was in Assam also. So first of all, thanks to everyone for inviting me to be part of this. All the distinguished people, the President, Dr. Baba, and all my seniors sitting here from the college where I studied, and my friend Bhaskar. I see Dr. Rastogi, I see Dr. Ananda Ramakrishnan, so, and all the students and all the faculty, all the distinguished senior members of the FSTI. So, I'm very happy to be here. Let me just talk something about Blue Revolution. Of course, Ayyappan sir, spoke briefly in his very informative and such a splendid talk. He did mention about some of the aspects of the Blue Revolution. So let me just share my thoughts on what we have been able to do and what is the importance of fish and how fish is important in addressing both food security as well as the nutritional security. I was working in CIFT in the past, Central Institute of Fisheries Technology. So in that capacity I have come here many times, and now very recently I have moved to Mumbai. Basically on education now, okay, from fisheries technology to education. So let me talk something about the Blue Revolution. Where do we stand in the global scenario? How sustainability and how it is impacting the Blue Revolution, and what are the Government of India initiatives in this direction? What are the issues, basically in the fisheries sector when we are talking? We all know fisheries is one of the very fast growing sectors. If you compare any sector The growth in fisheries is unparalleled. But still there are issues, okay? So I'd like to talk something about some of the issues and what strategies we should be adopting. So, food security, when we talk, everybody wants to have an active and healthy life, right? So when we are aspiring to be active and healthy, naturally, we should be getting food all the time, physical, social, and economical access to sufficient, safe, and nutritious food, okay? So everybody aspires to have a good food, a nutritious food, safe food, because safety is becoming a major concern, okay? When we are increasing so much of production, definitely having a nutritious and safe food is very, very paramount to every one of us, because we have been talking about so much of malnutrition, undernourishment in the country. So this becomes very challenging for all of us to meet the security. So what are the 4 dimensions of the food security if you're talking? One is availability. Availability, when I'm talking, whether or not food is actually or physically available to us. Then whether we have an access. Okay, when we say access, whether or not households and individuals have sufficient physical and economic access to the food. We may have food, but whether do we have access to that? And how do we utilize, because whatever food is available, how it is available to us, because we eat, because we may be eating so much of nutritious food, whether it is bioavailable to us, whether it is going to be assimilated by us, that is also a challenge. And also ensuring that it is available all the time, stability for all the time. That's what we are talking about, the food security, okay? And if you see the tale of empty plates, Dr. Ayyappan sir was also talking. I am just taking some of the data from the latest, FAO statistics, which has been published very recently. Nearly 828 million empty plates in 21, okay? When we are talking of the SDG targets of 2.1 and 2.2, we are talking at ending the hunger and ensuring access to safe, nutritious and sufficient food for all the people all year round and eradicating all forms of nutrition. But where are we heading? In another, up to 2030, another 8 years, the number of people who are unable to afford the healthy diet is nearly 112 million. It is almost 3.1 billion as per the FAO. It is something which is, alarming, which is a matter of concern. And what are the challenges? To feed the world, it is increasing, whether we are talking of the rising consumer food prices, we are talking of supply chain disruption because of the pandemic, also the Ukraine war. I don't know whether today I was reading the Hindu, so there is an interview by the president of Indonesia. I think many of you must have read. So they were, he was addressing, he was talking about that all the countries coming together, forgetting our ego. He was mentioning about it, so that we can address the food security. It was very interesting, I was just going through the interview in the morning. So that also has put a lot of pressure on us. And again, the climate change, severe and extreme climate changes. So what are the issues? Whether it is the growing food insecurity in the country, the pandemic, inequalities in the societies, and the child undernutrition, whether it is stunting or the wasting. You have deficiencies in the micronutrients. That's where I'm trying to head to the fisheries. Because when we're talking of deficiency in the micronutrients, we know that fish is very good in that. And again, obesity in children and adults, and also the anemia, okay? And when I'm talking of the concentration and the distribution of food security, if you see globally, if you compare to the world, okay? You see the world where I'm trying to give you the, what is the total, against the total population, what is the, the insecurity that is distribution, okay, the concentration. You compare it to Asia, Africa, you see it is fairly better in the Northern America and Europe. Latin America it is slightly better, but if you compare to the Asia and Africa, it's again matter of concern. Then, when we are talking of the plus, the advantages of the country, okay, the food production, what are the positives on our side? We are first in the milk, second in many of the vegetable crops, Dr. Ayyappan sir was also talking about. We are third in the fish production, and second in aquaculture, the freshwater production, and largest producer of the pulses. We contribute significantly to the world, whether it is the fruits or vegetables, okay? And we are also heading towards the 5 trillion economy. The country is heading towards the 5 trillion economy. So where we need to address, where we have gaps, right? But still, when we are talking a lot of advantages as a country, What are the issues? Again, we have infant mortality, low, the life expectancy, there is malnutrition, undernourishment, again under 5 stunting, anemia, a lot of lifestyle diseases. I'm sure all of you know, whether it is diabetes, cardiac problems, blood pressure, thyroid, many, many things. Okay, these are all the things which are of concern. So what is the cost of a healthy diet? Okay, so nearly 973 million people in India are unable to get a healthy diet. It's the latest figure what I'm just referring for, according to the Sophia. And if you see the cost, US dollars, if you see the world average and the India, okay, this is again not affordable to many in the country. And again, if you see the number, I have given some numbers also here. Okay, this is the 973 million people who are not able to get the healthy diet. So, naturally, being a domain of fisheries, so we are talking of fish. We all know fish is we call it as a superfood. When I am talking of whether it is the nutrients, whether it is the minerals, the water, vitamins, lipids, and it is a nature superfood where it gives you healthy proteins, healthy fats, lot of essential nutrients. So not only against malnutrition, it can address all the lifestyle diseases which we have been talking of. And promoting fish as a health food compared to many other food, protein-rich sources, definitely fish is going to be the future. And we were just trying to compare, compare with other food sources. The cost per protein, if you see per gram, okay, the fish is, cheaper than some of the other like egg white or whey protein, and comparable with maybe little equal to chicken and other fish. Again, we have tried to analyze different species of fish. Okay, if you see the cost of fish, the protein, so this gives some picture about it. And again, we are trying to compare with the soy and groundnut. See, whatever limiting in other foods, it is good in the fisheries, fish sources. And if you are mixing a protein, mixture of cereals and fish, it will definitely be more healthy and nutritious to us. And I was talking, when I'm talking fish is so good, fish is so important for the diet, addressing the nutrition and health security. Again, the global seafood requirement, if you see, right now we have around 14 million metric tons, okay? So by 2025, we should be needing around 164 million metric tons, and at 2050, 232 million metric tons. This is what is the global expectations of the seafoods. When I say seafoods, it covers many, many things. So all the aquatic products, okay? And we all know that fish is highly nutritious, and that's the reason, Government of India has given so much of impetus and started Blue Revolution, because we know that is the future, because the growth is parallel, because we have tremendous water resources in the country. That's what we have to tap it now, okay? Because the land is becoming limited, as Ayappan was talking, the household, the land is diminishing. So there are the concerns. So what is the next future is, we should be looking at aquatic production. So when I'm talking of Blue Revolution, basically what? We need to have more production of fish and other marine products, okay? Through a package of program which is basically into like similar to Green Revolution or a White Revolution, we are talking of Blue Revolution. So what we are trying to address basically to have, improve fish breeding, fish rearing, improve the fish marketing, and also the exports. Not just exports, even the domestic consumption is becoming very, very important, because the country has got so much of population. Definitely domestic consumption is going to be the key. Okay. And when we look back at the 1960, okay, so the first Blue Revolution, what we are talking, you can see, basically we were having a dual fishing economy, where we were looking at artisanal fishers, as well as we have introduced the mechanized fishing vessels, okay, in 1960s, because we wanted to catch more, okay. So instead of going for the artisanal fishermen, we started introducing mechanized fishing. And it started with the establishment of a fish farmers developmental agency. Okay, that's how the first Blue Revolution started. And what is the that's also called Neel Kranti mission. Okay, what are the basic objectives of the Blue Revolution? It was basically to increase the overall fish production in a responsible and sustainable way. That's what we are now trying to come at. when initially we started having more production, we did not bother about the conservation of the resources. Okay, now we are in a point where we need to be sustaining our resources, we need to be conserving our resources. So that was one of the objectives. And also to modernize the fisheries with focus on new technologies, to ensure food and nutrition security, to generate employment and export earnings. And basically we were talking of inclusive development, okay, including the fishermen, all the stakeholders, so that we also promote aquaculture. That was so this is the vision of the Blue Revolution, okay, enabling an environment for integrated development so that the country gets the full potential of the fisheries sector. That was the Blue Revolution objective, okay. So now, how it started, it started off with the induced breeding technology, okay. That was in 1957, he was the father of our Blue Revolution, okay, Dr. Chaudhary, Hiralal Chaudhary, okay. I think on July 10th, we celebrated as a Fish Farmers Day, National Fish Farmers Day. That is actually, that day, we were successfully in induced breeding. Okay, otherwise, fish breed only in natural waters. So that is the day he had a technique, he perfected a technology where we can have induced breeding of fish. That paved the way, you see. The success of induced breeding technology revitalized the Indian freshwater aquaculture sector. So that's why we call it a D-Day. You can see him with the Indira Gandhi ji, the then Prime Minister. So, what were the objectives? One was basically to fully tapping the total fish production potential of the country. So that focus on both inland and marine, okay, to triple the production by 2020. That was the objective during then, okay. Then transforming the fisheries sector as a modern industry, where we were focusing on the new technologies. Then we were talking of doubling of the income of the farmers and fishers, okay, by focusing on increasing the productivity, giving better infrastructure, improving the cold chain facility. As you know, fish is highly perishable, unlike other food commodities. So as soon as it is harvested, it has to be iced, chilled and transported, stored. So that was a major concern. So improving the cold chain facility, improving the infrastructure facility, improving the markets. So that was all a challenge. That was all the objectives which was taken, and including modern technologies like that was the time freezing technology was introduced, the practices of curing, traditional curing, drying was improved. That's how the fish preservation could be achieved. Then again, focus on exports. Now we have crossed the 7.5 billion. Okay, we are one of the top exporting countries. Of course, I'll tell you what is the reason of that. Then when we are talking of Blue Revolution, I told you we have a huge resource. If you see the water resources, okay, area of the country, you see the coastline above 8,000 kilometers. We have the exclusive economic zone of 2.02 million square kilometer. We have the sufficient continental shelf. Lot of rivers and canals in the country, floodplain lakes, ponds and lakes, reservoirs. We are not really potentially utilizing all of them. The production in reservoir and all that is very, very low compared to the other countries. So that's where I think we need to improving. I think many of the states are already doing. I think Dr. C.K. Murthy is here. He was spearheading the aquaculture in Karnataka government. Okay, they have done a lot of initiatives. Now, not only Karnataka, many states are really improving the fish production now because there is a huge demand. And earlier it was only the demand was in the coastal belt. But now even in inland areas, fish is being sought after. Okay, so the people, the number of people eating fish is slowly increasing. Still it needs improvement. So that's what I think we need to tap all these resources for the Blue Revolution program. And as a part of that, the Blue Revolution, we had, the National Fisheries Development Board was introduced. Dr. Murthy was also there with them, and Dr. Ayyappan sir was the first, chief of the NFDB when it was initially started. So he was actually holding the post of the chief executive there. So the National Fisheries Development Board and its activities, strengthening the database and geographical information system in the whole aquatic system. Then development of inland fisheries and aquaculture started during the Blue Revolution. Then when we are developing the fisheries sector, obviously the fishermen and other related stakeholders also has to be taken care. So the National Scheme for Welfare of the Fishermen also started, and the development of marine fisheries infrastructure and post-harvest operation was started. I think Government of India has allocated a lot of funds for this Blue Revolution program, and there were a lot of new initiatives like monitoring, control, surveillance, institutional arrangement for the fisheries sector. Then what are the positive sides of the Blue Revolution? If you see, the total expenditure, the money allocated for blue revolution was huge. Even the latest scheme of Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana, okay, 20,000 crores has been allocated for that, okay. It is only for the state and also all other maritime states and the island nations. Then you have the total fisheries exports going up, a lot of impetus was given. The contribution, again, Ipan sir was talking in the morning, the contribution of fisheries sector to the Indian economy is 1.24, to the agriculture is 7.28. So we have some significant global production, and the trade is also, India is very significant in the whole global trade. So these are all the positives, okay. Again, a lot of investment has happened in the post-harvest infrastructure as a part of Blue Revolution in order to promote fisheries and aquaculture. And a lot of, infrastructure development with regard to the, facility for the fishermen also happened. But what are the negative sides of the Blue Revolution? Even morning he was talking about the pesticide residues, so many things, even in agriculture. So here also similarly, when we are promoting aquaculture, so what are the issues major? We were losing the natural habitat. The mangroves were converted into aquaculture system. Okay, there are a lot of hue and cry about the conservation of the natural aquatic systems. Then the damaging of the offshore ecosystem. Native species were lost. We brought in some of the exotic species. Okay, then a lot of siltation and pollution, degradation of the water quality, addition of toxic chemical, because we have heard of so many things, antibiotic residues from the agriculture runoff, lot of insecticides, pesticides coming to the aquatic system, and there have been a lot of rejection from the importing countries also because of all these issues of contaminants and adulterants in the fish. So this has been a negative side of the, similar to green revolution. Same thing happened, many of the lands are now not suitable. Now they are also being used for aquaculture. If you see in some of the states like Rajasthan, Haryana and Punjab, there's so much of salt affected land. Now we are growing Vanamai there. That is actually very, very good actually. But in the long run, that also will not be sustainable. I think we need to really look into that. Because many people are now converting the lands into the aquaculture system. So that is again a matter of concern. We had a bad experience when we were talking of tiger shrimp culture. Now of course we are into Vanamai. So probably we should be looking at the sustainability and the conservation, looking at all these issues of the chemical, antibiotic residues, so much of other, and also the non-invasive species are coming into the system. So there's no regulation. Government of India is taking a lot of measures to control all this, but still we have a long way to go. Again, continuing the negative sides of the Blue Revolution, a lot of diseases, okay, because there have been a huge spread of diseases. The trade barriers are coming, and the sustainability. When I'm talking of sustainability, you see, as per the FAO, 90% of the marine stock have been already fully exploited or overfished or depleted, okay? And some of the stocks, they say it is beyond, again, repair. We cannot revive them back. So that's a matter of concern. And even if you are talking of a fisherman, if you see, compared to any other, other countries, the money what he is making, it is not enough for him to meet ends. Because there's so much of money is being spent, especially in capture fisheries. The fuel is so high. Even in aquaculture, the input cost is going up for the feed, for the seed, and maintain the, addressing the disease issues. So they're all, becoming a concern for a small scale fisherman. So what are the challenges, I'm just trying to highlight. Again, stagnation in the growth in the marine fisheries because we are stagnant around 3.7, 3.8 million metric tons. We are not able to increase because we are not able to grow deep into the mariculture and other things. Issues over the quality of the resources used. There are a lot of demand for the same water, there's a lot of conflict, okay? And again, poaching, and again, limited availability. If you are talking of aquaculture, you see, limited availability of spawn, seedlings, fingerlings, and when it is needed. Again, availability of feed and medicine, it is becoming very expensive. You see the cost of the feed now, it is so expensive. Okay, that is becoming a major limiting factor for the aquaculture industry. And again, markets are becoming limited and there is no capital. So there are all the issues faced by this. In addition to that, we are talking of sustainability and environmental friendly issues, high fuel cost, I said. The cost of raw material is going up. So people are not able to afford. Many times when you go to the market, fish is very expensive. If you talk of seer fish and all, 800 rupees, 1000 rupees per kilo. So a normal man, even though it is highly nutritious, he is not able to afford the fish compared to other food products. So, again, non-availability of the raw material, dependency on single commodity, that's what I was telling. We are wholly depending on Vanamai, and again, we are only exporting the raw frozen shrimp. We are not doing any value addition, it is hardly less than 5%. So that is becoming another major concern. We have been talking of value addition, so much of schemes are coming. Government of India, MPEDA is introducing so many schemes, but still we have a, what we are doing is nothing, only 10% is exported. That also majority, 90% is only going as a raw form. And we are importing the value-added product from some other countries, and we are paying so much of money for that. So I think India needs to relook into that. Again, a lot of capacity is there for the processing. We are not using underutilizing the processing capacity. And we don't have a brand, hardly few people now, okay, only Fresh to Home, Lucifer, some few people are doing. But I think we need to, even in the international market, we hardly have any brands. We are only packing for somebody else in their brand. So that is again, value realization for the country is becoming very, very limited, okay. And we are not getting into the lot of innovative, creative products. And we don't have indigenous. When I'm talking of value addition, the major concern is we don't have a proper machinery required for that. We have to import most of the machinery, which is very expensive. Indigenous machinery are not, there available, which are affordable. Probably this is where I think many of the engineering institutions like CFTRI and other people should join hands, and I think similar effort was done with the high pressure, I think Dr. Rastogi is not here. So there was an attempt for that. But I think similarly, whether we are talking of breading, battering, freezing, many of these machinery, we need to develop indigenously. Then only we will be able to have more value addition in the country. Again, there are a lot of quality concerns, safety, biosecurity issues, and we don't have, I think, similar to the other, in biotech park and other things, seafood parks have to be developed more. I think some under the PMMSY definitely there is some initiative, but many states they don't have similar facility. I have seen one model in Cochin, it is working very well. So probably when we are talking of incubation, entrepreneurship, promoting the business enterprise for the small startups to come into, we should be advocating some of these things so that the government can invest more, so the people can come in and make use of this facility. So what is the way forward? Okay, so we need to improve the public-private enterprises, and again we have we should give more focus on indigenous seed production to ensure self-sufficiency, because whatever we are having now, it is not enough for the country. Okay, for the plan we are talking of 1 lakh exports. We are talking of from 14 million to 22 million. Okay, so that's not going to be achievable unless we address all this. Okay, there should be lot of research getting into this for developing the appropriate technologies, infrastructure and technology development, introduction of deep sea fishing vessels, because we are not tapping the deep sea resources. We are not even tapping conventional resources. We are only depending on whatever is available in the nearshore waters. I think we need to move inside. There are a lot of other resources we should be looking at. And intensive fish farming, the government should give more flexibility with regard to the credit and other facilities. And I would just like to highlight some of the initiatives, the strategies which ICR institutes have been doing with regard to the Blue Revolution. Because whatever research and development is happening in the research ICR institutes, the technologies are being developed in of these 7-8 institutes, and it is going to the State Department. Maybe through developmental agencies like NFDB or MPEDA, through these programs it is being done. Even whatever the Pradhan Mantri Matsya Sampada Yojana allocation is there, that has to be given to the states, and the technology has to be from one of the ICR institutes which are working, focusing on, we have an institute for freshwater separately, on cold water, on brackish water, on marine, and one on education, one is on genetic resources. So they are the institutes, like you have the institute like CIFT, SIBA, CMFRI. This is for the open water culture like reservoirs and rivers, that is in Barakpur, and SIFA for freshwater aquaculture, then you have the genetic resources and the cold water. So these are all the institutes. So when I am talking of non-availability of sufficient raw material, we should be, and also we don't have a good aquaculture practices. We should see that the material is available around the, good quality material is available. We need to improve the, supply chain management. We need to improve the cold chain facility. Lot of emphasis should be given to the fishing vessels. I told you, including factory vessel. Even a small country like Bangladesh, they have factory vessels, but we don't have a single factory vessel. And most of the vessels are all going and coming back. Only the high quality fish is only iced. Otherwise, most of the things are left on the, they go for some multi-day fishing. 5 days, 6 days, 7 days. Only some of the, good quality fish only, other things are all left onto the deck. So by the time they come, they are of very, very poor quality. They are not suitable for any, export quality. And that gets into the domestic market. And, nearly 15-20% of post-harvest losses, country like India cannot afford. So I think that's where I think we need to improve. So promoting the, again, freshwater we are not at all exporting, okay. Mostly it is all shrimp and few marine fish species. So we need to promote the freshwater fish and shellfish also. And again, I told you, there are a lot of deep sea offshore exportable resources. We should be looking at tapping them, okay. Again, we are only exportable catch like tuna-like species. We still don't have, I was talking about the mid-tofits. This will be a good option for fish meal, okay. They are not being utilized. There is a huge resource in the country. Other countries are already exploiting them, because now whatever, little catches, the juveniles are caught, it is going for fish meal. The fish meal is a major, protein supplement to the feed. When we are promoting aquaculture, obviously people are encouraging the juvenile catch. Only few states are enacted. But if you want to prevent the juvenile fishing, you need to have alternate sources. So something like mid-tofits can be, supported. And again, deep sea vessels should be promoted. Again, I am talking of species diversification. We are only depending on 1 or 2 species. So we should be looking at, high value exportable marine species. We are talking of groupers, pomfrets, lobsters. We should be looking at, developing an appropriate breeding and all this technology, okay. The institutes are working on this. Again, offshore cage farming. It is only still in a very nascent stage in country. You go to countries like Norway, they have actually, it is an industry. So I think India with vast resources, because the problem is there are some problems issue with the leasing policy. People cannot go and lease a water body to put any of this culture. I think the state, because fisheries is a state subject. And even the central government issues some directives, but the states differ from, each state have their own rules and regulations. I think that is where we need to, have more promoting the sea ranching, so that the stock will, because I was telling you, the stocks are getting depleted. How to revive them? We should be looking at sea ranching, okay? And even, the seaweed is going to be a huge, you all know seaweeds are highly rich in a lot of micronutrients, so many biomolecules. We are still not tapping them. Very few, products only are there. It is only for agar and other things. But we have a vast potential. I think this is another area where we need to, have technology like micropropagation. We need to improve the seed bank. We need to have better strains, especially in the seaweeds. Again, scampi, there is a huge potential. We already have a 13th generation where the growth is 50% increase. So this is another area I think we should be, it's a huge potential. Instead of depending on, see how we happened, we were depending on the tiger shrimp, it collapsed. So now we have Vannamei. So if you are depending completely on Vannamei, and 90% is dependent on Vannamei, I think we should be looking at alternate species so that we can have alternate markets also. So this is another area. Then again the pangasius, you are talking of tilapia. We are not really exploiting for export and domestic market. I think it is picking up, okay. If you go across, there are a lot of new technologies coming like RAS, biofloc. So people are doing. So this is another potential species. When I am talking of cage culture, both in environment, marine environment and reservoirs, and we can talk of research, recirculatory aquaculture system, where the production can be increased compared to the conventional, breeding technology, of fish farming technology. So these are all some of the, innovations happening in the country. So this is another future. Then I was talking about the fuel consumption, right? So CFT has been developing fuel efficient vessels so that the fishermen will at least, will not be in the loss, spending so much of money for fuel. So we are talking of combination vessels where we can do gill netting, trawling, long lining together. Instead of going for traditional fishing, earlier, whatever boat we are having now, they're all outdated now. They're not efficient. They consume so much of fuel. So now we should be looking at introducing the fuel efficient trawlers. And not only the boat design, the craft design, the boat net design, the otter boats, all accessories needs to be fine-tuned so that we can have better fuel efficiency in the fishing system. This is what I think we should be now reducing the drag in the, when we are catching the fish. Then we are talking of in inland reservoir fisheries, you can go for solar boats, okay? So zero fuel, you don't need any fuel for this. This is actually a solar boat and this is a pedal boat for fishing. You don't need, a huge expensive trawlers in the inland system, in the reservoir or in river system. You can go for some of these innovations. Then, when I'm talking of sustainability, India, US has banned Indian shrimp because we don't have turtle excluding device. There is a lot of concern for conserving mammals, okay, whether it is dolphins, whether it is turtles. So all of our trawler system should have a turtle excluding device. In case turtle, enters the net, it should be allowed to escape. That's what is only a small mechanism. There is a small grid in the, you have a net, in the center you have a grid, okay, and there is an opening. In case a turtle comes, that the grid is actually in an angle like this. So it should climb up and go out, okay. So this design has mandatorily that it should be put into this, our trawl. But it is not, we are not meeting, so India, US has banned, okay. So now CIFT is developing that, and similar to that, now they are also enacting marine mammals, okay. Because many times, some of the dolphin and other things get caught into our net. These are all the concerns for the country, okay. Because just one incidence of a dolphin or a turtle getting into the net, they ban the whole country. So we need to meet all these things, and in addition to that, regulating. When I'm talking of juvenile fishing, okay, what we need to do, you need to have a regulation on the mesh size. So even the fish enters, it should escape, so that they are available for the next stock. Instead of that, you buy the small fish, nobody will buy them. They have no commercial value. Now, of course, there is a market of fish meal, so they get into the fish meal market. But we need to conserve our resources, so that we need to have enough designs so that we don't catch the juveniles, okay. Juvenile excluding devices, bycatch reduction devices, these are all the things, new technologies which we need to include into the fishing system, okay. Again dependency on the single species, I told you, we need to have the different diversity. If you really see the history, the price rise in shrimp is not much at all compared to the other squids or any other cuttlefish. In the international market, the shrimp has not really gone up. We don't get enough money, but we are still depending on one species. We are not diversifying. I think this is where I think we should be looking at, and instead of depending on frozen products, we should be looking at more value addition. So this is how we have to species diversification, and we have to increase the more number of species into the domestic and export basket. Then only we can have the, whatever we are talking of blue revolution will be realized only when we achieve all this. And we are talking of low value addition. We need to be more creative. We need to have more innovative products. We need to develop products depending on the customers. It is not that whatever we give, people will eat. No, people are all looking at different things. So that's what I'm telling. That is where creating a seafood park and actually studying the consumer acceptance, then developing a products appropriate for them. That's what is the need of the hour. So that's what I think we need to invest more in appropriate machinery, appropriate technology. Of course, we have been working with CFTRI and DFRL also in the past on freeze-dried shrimp and all that, but some of the technologies, I think Dr. Radhakrishnan is here. Many years back, we were developing some of the freeze-dried shrimp products. So a lot of innovations can happen in this. And again, I was telling you, some of the machineries indigenously within engineering institutes. And again, I will tell you the capacity we are not using. There's no point in building a huge infrastructure of fish processing facility. We need to optimize them. We need to design them scientifically, okay? Again, innovative products I was talking of, even Ayyappan sir was talking about lab-grown meat, okay? 3D printed products. I think Dr. Anand Ramakrishnan is also here, so he has also done some work on that. So there is a lot of need for establishing a center of excellence, so that all the institutes together, not just ICR, CSIR, DRDO, all people can join together and develop some innovative products for the sector. That's what is the need of the hour, because we don't have, the funds are becoming limited. We are not able to get funds to do any research in the institutes now. So there's no point in reinventing the wheel. I think we should be collaborating with each other and developing products which are need-based, which are required by the industry. Now industry is going abroad and buying the technology. They are importing the machinery. I think somewhere we need to, when we are talking of Make in India, I think that's where I think we need to look into, okay? Again, a lot of quality issues, a lot of rejections because of course, Dr. Bhaskar is here. So he knows more about all this, rejections, ensuring safety, antibiotics, heavy metals. We need to have a certification system. We need to have, because now any fishery which is certified, they are getting better price. Okay, so I think the fisheries sector needs to be, putting more efforts getting into the certification system. So that's what is another, and also I'm sure Dr. Murthy will agree, NFDB when he was there, they did lot of, because whenever we are talking of markets, still, fish market, every day when there is a chaos, people say it is like a fish market. I think that, should be removed now. People should, walk in freely. Of course, now things are becoming better. Many, high-end markets are coming up. So, and again, I was talking some of the policy interventions. We need to evolve a diversified food safety risk management system. There are a lot of constraints, so we need to, inclusive development is required. We need to have a deterrent compulsory instruments to crack down and penalize, especially, using adulterants, unapproved antibiotics and chemicals across the value chain. We are talking about the aquaculture system. This is a major concern. Then again, there should be convergence in the food regulation. With a lot of, multiplicity of agencies. There are so many agencies in fisheries sector. Okay, that is again becoming a bottleneck for any trade. Okay, so this is another area. I think FSSI is actually now trying to integrate many things now. So definitely it is in a positive note. So we are looking forward for all those things. Again, we should be incentivize the value addition, adoption, and amount of technologies. And before I close, let me just talk about the consumption. Okay, when I'm talking fish is highly nutritious, it is good, and the country is giving so much of impetus on blue revolution, but still fish consumption is a matter of concern. Only across you can see across the coastal the consumption is very high. Okay, the global per capita is 20 kilo. Whereas we are talking about 5 to 6 kilos in the country. Okay, so I think that needs to be improved. Okay, why it is not happening? You can see some of the data. Okay, the global average 20. We are talking about FAO says it is 6.6. Sophia again it says 5 to 10. And the Department of Fisheries does some survey because when they are doing the survey, they are not including in the non-vegetarian fish. Okay, so that's why we are not actually catching exactly how many people are eating fish. But still, it is somewhere around 8.6 kilo. If you are taking only non-vegetarian population, it is around 12 kilo, where the global average is 20. So this is where we need to address them. Why fish consumption is not happening? Okay, basically availability and from the production. Sometimes you want to eat, it is not available, and where it is available, it may not be of quality. By the time it reaches the interior area, it is not of quality. And people always have a negative things about the smell of the fish when they get in the fish market. And people are also worried about the pin bones, okay? Then many times we are talking of health benefits, but many people may not be aware how fish is nutritious. So that is another concern why fish consumption is not happening. And again, people are having a lot of apprehensions about the contaminants, again, poor hygiene in the market. And when we want, if you see the other food products, the array of products, what is available in the fish is not, that much. Again, limited. So that is another area of concern. So what we should be, promoting fish consumption. So we should be reframing, seafood as a healthier substitute. We should promote it. We should give, a lot of branding. We should give promotion. We should bring awareness to the people that fish is healthy, fish is nutritious. So that's what I think we should do. The way they were doing the egg campaign. Similarly, we should also be doing promoting fish. And when people eat fish, they should have only when people go to Goa to eat fish. Okay? Or you go to Mangalore or any other coastal places. So we should, promote this across the country. We should see that the fish, people enjoy eating fish. And we should also market what it has. So I think that's where we need to. So some of the options I was just giving, if you are talking of fish, there are a lot of options, whether it is in the live, you can see the live fish chilled products. There can be many options for you when to promote fish. Then if you see the ready to cook, it can be condiment incorporated fish. It can be ready to fry, ready to cook, ready to eat, okay? A lot of options. You can see in the frozen products, there are so many options for you. Then if you are talking of coated products, battered and breaded products, it can be so many, shrimp, fish, cuttlefish, anything can be battered and breaded. You see some of the specialty products like stretched shrimp, breaded, even skewers, you can see the skewers. There are so many options for you. Then you have a lot of, minced meat based products like surumi, sausages, kamaboko, so many things. Some of the products already, there is a company called Gadre Marine in Mumbai. They are already marketing, okay, only one company. Then there are a lot of options like momos, okay, sausages, soups. There are a lot of options from fish and shellfish. See, the problem is, fish means people group everything as fish. In fish, you know, you have fish, shrimp, cuttlefish, squid, so many things. Okay, but people don't really market them as such. I think somewhere we are not very good in marketing fish and seafood products. See, a lot of products, a lot of innovative products. And if you are talking of ready-to-serve products, it can be in can, it can be in pouches, it can be in semi-rigid containers. There are a lot of options. If you are talking of dried and cured fish, it can be, you know, extruded products, ready-to-eat snack foods. A lot of things are happening, okay? Even some of the ethnic products like pickle, you have marinated products. If you go to Northeast, you have some products like shidal, okay? There are so many fermented products. So there are a lot of options. Okay, finally, what should the government be doing? Okay, some of the policy interventions when we are promoting fish, when we are promoting the Blue Revolution, how we have to, you know, what government should be doing to promote fish consumption. When fish consumption happens, when demand happens, naturally the fish culture also will pick up. Naturally, you know, all the other problems also will be addressed by the, you know, the state and the central government. So we should be looking at, you know, improving the government-sponsored awareness campaigns to promote fish as a healthy food, reaching out to the rural population through public distribution system, reaching out to the school children, you know, through the midday meal scheme. This one similar program is already started in Orissa through the World Fish and CIFT. That has been very successful. And even CIFT did some work in Northeast also, promoting, you know, we did some actually intervention study. You will be surprised to see in 1 month, the hemoglobin, you know, increase was significant, okay? So that was, you know, and even taking that as a cue, World Fish came out with a project. Now in Orissa they are doing this through the state government. I think now that should be spread across other states. And again, reaching out to the self-help groups for fish products manufacturing and marketing, okay? We should be giving the technology to them, training them, and establishing incubation facilities. We have done one, but I think that should be duplicated across the country, improving the cold chain. And, you know, already we have some schemes, right? Like ICDS, MDM, SNP program and all that. So there they don't have fish. So probably including fish and fish-based products through the national nutrition supplementation programs, okay? So that is another area of which. So before I close, because I represent CIFE, I thought I'll just share about CIFE. You know, we are the fisheries university, the only fisheries university in the country, where we are offering a master's and PhD program in 11 disciplines, okay, both MFSC and PhD in 11 disciplines. And it is 100%, you know, people are placed, so there are no unemployment as far as the graduates are coming out of the institution. They are getting into the state fisheries department, they are getting into the, you know, academic programs in the universities, they are getting into the private sector, they are becoming scientists, they are going for higher studies, okay? So these are all the advantages of CIFE. So thank you very much. I would like to thank AFSTI, Dr. Alok, Dr. Bhaskar and all the officials and all the distinguished members of AFSTI. It's always a pleasure to be here in CFTRI and taking part in AFSTI programs. So thank you very much for inviting, and all are welcome to Mumbai. Okay. I should especially thank Bhaskar. Okay, he was insisting. And my pranams to Padma Shri Ayyappan sir. He should have been here. And again, I told you, I tried to, you know, cover some of the things about Blue Revolution. We are now representing the research institution, I mean education institution. ICR is doing a lot of things. We are looking forward for, you know, collaborating with, especially we have colleagues from CFTRI and DFRL here. Maybe we are looking more for collaboration programs so that we can do more work. Of course, CFTRI had a small station when I was studying in Bangalore. So behind our technology wing, Dr. Sripati was working on fish. So since then, our association with CFTRI. So it's always a privilege to be part of this, and happy to meet all colleagues here. It's a great opportunity, so I must thank Bhaskar and everyone for this, and Nandini, everybody. Thank you so much.
May I request the dignitaries to come back to the dais, please? Thank you very much, sir. With your vast research experience of more than 35 years in food science and fisheries technology and post-harvest technology, you have enlightened us about the Blue Revolution, its vision, objectives, the positive side, the way forward, the gaps and the policy interventions and all the things. So it is, we are blessed to have you with us, sir. Thank you so much. Dr. Ravi Shankar sir is also a chair of scientific panel on fish and fish products of FSSAI, and he is in the committee, he is the committee member of drafting national policy on post-harvest processing and marketing of fish and fishery products. In spite of he is a member of many of those government organizations, committee members, and serving in different capacities. So thank you so much, sir, for sharing your experience. On behalf of AFSTI, I request Dr. Alok Srivastava and other dignitaries to kindly honor Dr. Ravi Shankar, sir, please. It's a token of our appreciation, sir, please. Thank you once again, sir. And I have a very pleasant news to announce. You must be wondering, we have our JFST journal, which has reached, its impact factor is now 3.1. So once I remember a long way back, so every other journal refuses, then we used to send the articles to JFST. Now JFST is not in that, it has reached the great heights, and I think now this is a moment then we have to appreciate the current chief editor of JFST journal, Dr. Bhaskaran, the advisor of FSSAI and also the president designate of AFSTI. So on behalf of AFSTI, I request Dr. Alok sir to kindly felicitate Dr. Bhaskar for the for the contribution, sir. Please. Thank you, sir. I'm sure that you all will agree with me that today's seminar has thrown light on different aspects of nutritional security in terms of the food. Let us all work together to establish the nutritional security of the country through technological interventions of food. Now, I think with the permission of dignitaries, we have come to the end of this program. I request Shri Basuraj Mundalmani, the Honorary Treasurer of AFSTA, to render vote of thanks.
Yeah, it gives me immense pleasure and privilege to propose a vote of thanks in this August gathering of Azadi Amrit Mahotsav seminar on innovation and to build a resilient, sustainable food supply and nutritional security. First and foremost, I would like to express my sincere thanks to our chief guest, Professor Ayyappan, Chancellor, Central Agriculture University, Impal, and Chairman, Karnataka Science and Technology Academy, for gracing the occasion in the spite of his busy schedule and deliver the talk on agri-tech for food and nutrition. Thank you, sir, for your interesting and provoking talk. Next, I would like to extend my sincere thanks to our guest of honor, Dr. Ravi Shankar, CN, Director and Vice Chancellor, ICAR, CIFE, Government of India. I appreciate his presence and his enlightening speech on topic Blue Revolution for Food Security. Thank you, sir, for gracious accepting our invitation. My sincere and humble appreciations to our esteemed Director, Dr. Sridev Anpurna Singh, and also I express my deep sense of gratitude and support of this seminar. On behalf of AFSTI, CEC, I thank all the dignitaries for releasing the 29th ICFoST theme and logo, and also I congratulate the winner of the logo design competition and hope we'll see in the 29th ICFoST at Trivandrum. I would like to extend our thanks to Dr. Alok Srivatsav, President AFSTI, for welcome address. Thank you, sir. It has been our pleasure to have with us Dr. Bhaskar and advisor FSCCI and President designated AFSTI. I would like to thank you for your briefing about the AFSTI. Thank you, sir. I would like to thank Dr. Nandini P. Setti, Secretary AFSTI. Would also thank to the entire my Central Executive Committee who extended their support to conducting this seminar. My special thanks to retirees, previous CEC members, all the FSTA members, all the chapter presidents, secretaries, executive committee members in supporting and also they are attending on through YouTube. I would like to thank all the head and staff of the CFTA and DFRL Mysore for attending this program. I thank the staff of FSTI, Computer Center, INP, Agri-Horticulture, E&MM, C&MM, Security, Guest House, and also Mr. Chetan and Mr. Sunil for their support to conduct this event. I would like to thank to the media for coverage this event. I would like to thank to Dr. Usha Dhamras for wonderful comparing it and Divya Suresh for inauguration. Last but not least, I thank the student for their active participation. I would like to thank you once again, and I'm requesting you to kindly join us for lunch arranging in the quadrangle to the auditorium. Thank you.